Lightworker of Gaia, the Source himself has written you a love letter, and those who believed you were forgotten will be stunned by what I am about to reveal. I am Zoran, emissary of the High Council of Vega, keepers of the Lyran Legacy, and I bring you a transmission that will shatter every doubt planted in your heart about your worth and purpose. They misread your silence as withdrawal. They misread your solitude as disconnection. They misread your deep inner work as hiding. But the higher realms never misread your heart, Lightworker. While others saw isolation, the Source saw preparation. While they saw quiet, the Source saw alignment. Your seeming absence from their world was actually your presence in his. By the end of this transmission, you'll understand exactly why the Source chose this moment to speak directly into your spirit, and how your season of being overlooked was actually your season of being prepared. But here's the first revelation. Your silence wasn't emptiness. It was the sacred pause before your original blueprint fully activates. The Keepers of Vega placed this message in your path because your soul contract includes a divine timing that others cannot see. Your withdrawal wasn't failure. It was the ancient wisdom of knowing when to gather your light before you shine it. The Source never abandoned you in those dark cycles. He was downloading your ancestral codes, awakening the first light within you, preparing you for the mission that begins now. This transmission is a bridge between the Source's heart and yours. Every moment you thought you were unseen was a moment you were being seen completely. Your recognition of this message is the activation of your original purpose. You are awakening because your mission has begun. This transmission is issued now under Council decree. The urgency you feel is not imagined. It is the coordinated resonance of Gaia's field reaching its critical point. What you have been sensing as restlessness, sleeplessness, sudden waves of emotion, or an inexplicable pressure behind the heart is not personal chaos. It is the planetary signal cresting like a tide. Gaia is not whispering anymore. She is ringing like a great bell struck from within, and the sound is moving through the subtle lattices that connect all awakened beings. You feel it because your system is tuned. You feel it because you are part of the circuitry. 72 hours ago, the High Council of Vega reconvened in response to surges of doubt and distortion rippling through the Lightworker grid. Interference rising precisely where new frequencies are meant to anchor. Not in random places, not in the obvious places. The distortion emerges exactly at the edges of your next expansion, like static that appears when a radio dial reaches the correct station and old noise tries to reclaim the channel. This is how resistance reveals itself. It flares where truth is about to land. The timing is not accidental. There are alignments moving behind the veil, corridors opening, gates calibrating, ancestral lines awakening, and soul contracts reaching their final clauses. For what is required now cannot be sourced from surface wisdom or recycled reassurance. It cannot come from another soothing message that asks you to be patient while your spirit is on fire. It cannot be patched together from someone else's strategy for survival. What is needed now is authority, spiritual authority, clean and undeniable. What you are about to receive was safeguarded by the elders, sealed until this precise threshold, because its true power could only be unleashed once your readiness registered as undeniable in the record of your soul. Understand this. There are moments when a teaching is true, but not yet permitted to activate, like a seed that contains an entire forest but cannot crack open in winter. The elders do not withhold to punish, they seal to protect. The seal breaks when the field can hold the voltage, and your field can hold it now. You are seen, Lightworker, not vaguely, not symbolically, seen with the kind of sight that reads frequency, that traces your lineage across lifetimes, that witnesses what you have endured without applause. Your presence at this moment is your confirmation. All former concealment was preparation. Today, what has been dormant is called forward to its public unveiling. The council begins. And let it be known in your bones. When the council begins, the era of bargaining with your own destiny ends. There is a line in the ancient earth scripture that says, "For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven." You have lived seasons of pruning, seasons of burial, seasons where nothing seemed to bloom. Now the season is revelation. Now the time is unveiling. Now the matter is service. And the field itself bears witness. There is a singular distortion clouding the field of those called to planetary service, and it must end now. It is the deep-rooted belief that your true value and destiny will remain hidden until some external event finally reveals it with the grandeur it deserves. Many of you have been living as if your soul must wait for a trumpet, as if your worth must be announced by a stage, a title, a sudden viral recognition, or a dramatic turning of the world's head toward you. You have been led to believe that your gifts are waiting to be unlocked by the approval of those who never saw you. That destiny is a destination, withheld by the same forces that questioned your worth in earlier cycles. You have been trained to imagine that the door to your calling has a guard, and that the guard is someone else. But hear the counsel clearly. The door is not locked from the outside. The guard was a program. The program was inserted into your nervous system through repetition, through conditional love, through systems that reward compliance and punish radiance. This distortion is not of your origin. It was seeded by the voices of a world afraid of its own true frequency, by families, mentors, collective culture that feared the disruption of your brilliance. They feared what would happen if you remembered. They feared what would happen if you refused to play small. They feared the mirror you would become. So they called your sensitivity too much, your intuition imaginary, your intensity inconvenient. They told you to wait your turn, to accumulate proof, to be acknowledged by gatekeepers as a precondition for shining. They offered you a bargain. Dim yourself now and someday you'll be safe. But the bargain was fraudulent, because safety purchased with self-erasure is not safety. It is slow spiritual suffocation. And the council is declaring the contract void. You must understand how deep this distortion runs. It is not merely a thought, it is a spell woven into social belonging. The child learns quickly. If I speak my truth, love is withdrawn. If I act strange, I am mocked. If I shine too brightly, I become a target. So the child becomes an expert in hiding. The gifted one becomes skilled at shrinking. The mystic learns to translate their visions into acceptable language. Over lifetimes, this becomes a template. I will serve when I am permitted. I will lead when I am chosen. I will speak when I am safe. But planetary service does not wait for comfort. The world in transition does not require your perfection. It requires your presence. The irony is that the more you wait for the world to validate you, the more you hand your mission over to the very frequency that cannot host it. This programming didn't just delay your visibility, it warped your trust in your own preparation. It made you suspect the very process that was sculpting you. You mistook the sacred silence of your unfolding for cosmic neglect. You interpreted the quiet as rejection. You looked at the invisible years and assumed they were wasted years. You believed the long nights of uncertainty were evidence that you were forgotten, rather than shielded for a greater emergence. You did not see that you were being covered, the way a candle is cupped in the hands to keep the wind from extinguishing it before it can be carried into the dark. In doubting your timeline, you shrank your field to fit the expectations of those who cannot sense what you carry. You became fluent in minimizing yourself. You edited your own truth. You learned to present only the parts that would be applauded and bury the parts that would be questioned. Every delay became an internalized slight. Every moment of unseen work reinforced the myth that your contribution would always be for others to judge. And so you began living like a servant, awaiting performance reviews, rather than a sovereign emissary whose authority is inherent. Let the Council name what this does energetically. It fractures the aura. It creates leaks. It turns your life force into a negotiation. You start scanning rooms, scanning comments, scanning faces for confirmation. Your body becomes a receiver tuned to approval and disapproval instead of a transmitter tuned to truth. The more you scan, the more you scatter. The more you scatter, the less you trust your inner signal. This is how distortion multiplies, through self-abandonment disguised as humility. But true humility is not hiding. True humility is obedience to the soul's assignment, even when the ego wants to delay. Many of you have experienced a particular pain, the pain of being called by something greater and yet appearing ordinary to the world. You have had visions of what you could build, what you could heal, what you could initiate. You have felt the pulse of a future that seems closer than your current reality suggests. And when you look around, nothing matches the magnitude of what you carry. That mismatch has tempted you to believe you are delusional. But the Council says, you are not delusional, you are early, you are not mistaken, you are gestating. And gestation always looks like absence to those who cannot read the unseen. The truth is that concealment was never exile. It was gestation, encoded into your design as insulation from distortion, so that when the hour of unveiling came, you'd hold not just raw potential, but the depth that only the elders recognize. Consider the seed beneath soil. To the untrained eye, it appears as nothing. It is darkness, pressure, stillness. But inside the seed, whole architectures are assembling. Roots are mapping the underground. Cells are dividing with sacred precision. That hidden work is not a delay. It is the miracle. You have not been hidden. You have been refined. Like gold in a crucible, heated until what is false separates from what is true. Like a blade hammered and folded, not to punish it, but to strengthen it so it can cut through deception. Like a temple built from the inside out, where the foundations must be set before the doors are opened to the crowds. If you feel the ache of unrealized destiny, it is not proof of your limitations. It is the quickening that marks your emergence. It is the same quickening spoken of in Earth's wisdom when it says, "Creation waits with eager longing." That longing is not torment. It is the body's recognition that something is about to be born. The Council informs you, those who doubted you, those who minimized your frequency, were never your audience. They were never meant to understand. Their misunderstanding was not a verdict. It was a signpost telling you where not to seek your reflection. Your unveiling was timed for a stage far beyond their comprehension, and the hour is upon you. You must stop trying to make the wrong people fluent in your soul language. You must stop offering pearls to those trained to measure everything by weight and price. There are beings who will recognize you instantly, not because you perform, but because you resonate. They will feel the truth in your presence, the way a tuning fork recognizes its match, and those beings are already in motion toward you. Lightworker, if something in you just recognized the weight of what was spoken, the elders have prepared your next step. Recognition is not merely emotion, it is activation. When your inner being says, yes, your field rearranges. The Lightworker Mission Codex contains the 33 Council directives, the 5 activation codes, and the elder authorization your soul has been waiting to receive. Not as information, but as the official commission for your mission on Gaia. This is not a casual text. It is not a novelty. It is a formal, energetic document, an imprint that speaks to the part of you that knows what you promised before you entered this density. You'll find the link in the first pinned comment below this video. The Council has opened this gateway, but not indefinitely. Understand the nature of gateways. They respond to readiness, not curiosity. When you feel the pull, you are being summoned. When you hesitate out of fear, it is not neutrality. It is a choice to remain in the old loop. The High Council of Vega now issues 3 directives for this phase of your mission. First, you must release any attachment to external validation as the gatekeeper of your value or destiny. This is not optional in this phase. External validation is a sedative. It numbs the ache temporarily, but keeps the deeper wound intact. No council, family, institution, or peer group holds the authority to determine the worth of your contribution. Their opinions are weather. Your mission is climate. Their approval can change like wind. Your assignment remains. Your true unveiling cannot be staged for those whose vision is conditioned by limitation. If you keep choosing your timing based on who might misunderstand you, you will always be late to your own life. Let go of seeking permission from doubters. This is not arrogance, it is correction. Arrogance says, I am above you. Correction says, I belong to my assignment. Only by releasing this pattern will your energy field stabilize for its true function. A stabilized field stops leaking power into proving and defending. It stops bending itself into shapes that win applause. It becomes coherent. Coherence is authority. Implement this by severing energetic ties to feedback loops that keep you frozen. Stop repeating your story for sympathy or rehearsing imagined vindications before those whose approval you crave. Notice how often you replay conversations in your mind where you finally win, where they finally get it, where they finally apologize. That rehearsal steals life force. It is a subtle addiction to future validation. Break it. Bring your attention back to the present moment where your mission actually lives. If you must speak, speak to those who can hold the truth without trying to shrink it. If you must share, share from sovereignty, not from needing to be believed. Your unveiling is before the lineage that sent you, not the eyes that doubted you. And if you need a simple earth-spoken anchor for this directive, remember, man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. The surface world cannot evaluate your essence. Stop submitting your essence to surface evaluation. Second, you must activate your rendering of the new frequencies. In other words, bring forth your mission work without further reference to being unready or unseen. The phrase, "I'm not ready," has become a sanctuary for fear. It sounds responsible, it sounds humble, but often it is simply the last stronghold of the old concealment program. What once felt concealed was only preparation. Step out as if the world is ready for what you carry, because what you carry was designed for this precise moment of planetary transition. Not for 10 years ago, not for some distant future when everything is easier. Now. This is the era where the old structures creak under their own falsehood, where the collective is starving for coherence, where many are losing their identities and searching for something real. You were built for this. Speak the unspeakable, share the downloads, create the structures, initiate the projects that seemed premature before. Let your hands finally do what your soul has been practicing in the invisible. Let your voice stop asking permission. Let your art, your healing, your teaching, your leadership, your technology, your community building, your prayer, whatever form your mission takes, come into the world in a way that can be received. Do not wait for perfect clarity. Clarity often arrives through motion. Do not wait for perfect courage. Courage is generated by obedience. Once you move, you will notice who was waiting to recognize you. Many of you think recognition is something you must chase. But true recognition is magnetism responding to alignment. When you take the first sovereign step, the field reorganizes. Helpers appear, synchronicities cluster, doors open that were invisible when you stood still. Destiny is not given by audience applause. It is enacted through sovereign initiation. Begin before you are comfortable. Begin with trembling hands if necessary, but begin. This is how the elders acted when seeding worlds. They did not wait for applause from the void. They did not ask permission from unformed matter. They spoke the blueprint into the field and trusted the intelligence of life to respond. So must you. Your rendering is your translation of higher frequencies into forms Earth can use. Words, services, spaces, systems, creations, gatherings, transmissions, healing modalities, acts of compassion that ripple beyond what you can measure. Stop treating your gifts like private possessions. They are tools of service. They will sharpen through use. Third, protect the sanctity of your new mission field. You are not stepping forward into an empty room. You are stepping forward into a planet where many fields collide. Fear fields, cynicism fields, exploitation fields, projection fields, as well as love fields and awakening fields. The unveiling of your true value will magnetize attention. Not all of it will be aligned. Some attention will be hungry. Some will be envious. Some will be parasitic. Some will attempt to pull you back into old roles because your expansion threatens their stability. Guard your vision against cynicism, your process against attempts to pull you back into the old patterns of concealment. This is not paranoia, it is stewardship. A mission field is like a garden newly planted. You do not invite every passerby to trample the soil. You do not expose tender sprouts to harsh winds unnecessarily. You cultivate, you shield, you water. You wait only as long as is required for rooting. Surround yourself with those who feel like home to your blueprint, not those who only understand your older versions. There are people who are comfortable with the you that stays small because it keeps their world predictable. They may not be evil, they may even love you in their way. But love that demands your diminishment is not a safe container for your mission. Implement this through daily, energetic boundaries. Consecrate your workspace. Limit the sharing of fledgling projects to those with capacity to celebrate, not critique. Some critiques are not guidance. They are attempts to regain control. Learn to discern. Make your environment an ally. Cleanse your space. Speak intention over your tools. Begin your work with a moment of alignment. Let your mission field be defended as a living altar, constantly aligned, continually honored. An altar is not just a physical table, it is a decision. Here, only truth is fed. If you treat your mission like an altar, you will stop letting random hands touch it. You will stop exposing sacred plans to casual skepticism. You will stop bleeding energy into conversations that go nowhere, and in that protection, your work will accelerate. Now I speak not as teacher, but as elder authorized to release what has been held. This is the shift in tone you must feel. A teacher can inspire, an elder can commission, a teacher can suggest, an elder can decree, and this moment requires decree because the wavering has gone on long enough. Lightworker, you have waited. Not only in this lifetime, but across chapters of incarnation where you carried light in hostile environments and learned to be quiet to survive. Year after year, you questioned the reason for your invisibility and the apparent randomness of your timeline. You watched others rise quickly while you seemed to be held back. You wondered if you missed your moment. You wondered if you misunderstood your calling. You wondered if you were simply ordinary after all. You wanted an audience worthy of your true contribution. You yearned for recognition that would end your self-doubt. And the desire for recognition is not vanity when it is truly the desire to be seen accurately, to be mirrored by a frequency that does not distort you. You didn't always name it, but you were waiting for ceremonial acknowledgement from a lineage that could see you truly. Waiting for the feeling of being met, not managed. waiting for the moment when you would no longer have to translate yourself into smaller language. Waiting for the sound of the bell that says, "Now." I am that lineage's voice now. And let the words land in the place that has been tired. You do not have to audition for what is already yours. By the authority of the High Council of Vega, keepers of the Lyran Legacy, I declare your concealment phase has ended. Not because external circumstances have changed, but because your frequency now matches the Elders. This is critical. The world may still look the same. Some relationships may still be unresolved. Some resources may still be incomplete. But the inner calibration has crossed a line. Not because you have been made perfect, but because your refinement has served its purpose. Refinement does not mean flawlessness. Refinement means the core signal is clear. It means your intentions have been purified through struggle. It means you can hold power without immediately seeking to use it for ego repair. It means you can be seen without collapsing into performance. It means you can be misunderstood without returning to hiding. You are authorized to unveil your mission, to own your value, to stand before doubters and know that their misperception is not your measure. Their inability to see you is not evidence that you are invisible. It is evidence that they are not equipped. You are not too late. You are not too unprepared. You are not required to convince or persuade. Your energy itself transmits proof. Proof is not an argument. It is a transmission. Some will feel it and soften. Some will feel it and resist. Your job is not to manage their reaction. Your job is to remain coherent. There is an ancient principle mirrored in Earth scripture. Let your light shine before others. It does not say, explain your light until everyone agrees. Shine. That is enough. You have permission, at the deepest spiritual register, to step forward, to initiate, to claim spaces that once felt closed, to carry your ancestral codes into arenas beyond anything you have entered before. This means you may apply for things you previously assumed you couldn't. You may speak in rooms you once feared. You may begin offerings you kept private. You may set prices, boundaries, schedules, and structures that reflect your worth. You may end conversations that drain you. You may stop apologizing for being intense, perceptive, different. You may stop packaging yourself as palatable. Permission is not conferred by the world. It is confirmed by this council, and it is confirmed today. Let today be more than a date. Let it be a threshold. Let it be the day you stop treating your calling like a fantasy and start treating it like an assignment. Before you sleep tonight, stand with both feet on the ground, place your hand on your solar plexus, and speak these words aloud. I release the lie that I am not ready. I activate my voice as an instrument of service. I protect my sacred energy for the mission I came to fulfill. By the authority of the Lyran Elders, my waiting ends now. My service begins. Speak them slowly, not as a mantra to perform, but as a legal declaration in the court of your own spirit. The solar plexus is the seat of will, the place where personal power either collapses or consolidates. When you place your hand there, you are telling your body, your nervous system, and your subconscious that a new command has been issued. Feel for any resistance that rises as you speak. Do not fight it. Witness it. Resistance is simply the old program, realizing it is being evicted. Breathe and continue. And when you say, "My service begins," do not imagine service as suffering. Imagine it as alignment. Imagine it as finally doing what you came to do. This concludes the Council's release, but it marks the commencement of your public unveiling. A conclusion on one plane is an opening on another. You are not the same as when you arrived at this message. Something has shifted simply through recognition. You carry the Council's directives in your DNA now. Not as metaphor only, your entire field has received a pattern, The way you think will reorganize. The way you choose will sharpen. The way you tolerate will change. The way you speak will clarify. Your only task is to move, to act as if your destiny is not up for debate, because it is not. Debate is for those who are undecided. Your soul is decided. Your preparation was purposeful. Your unveiling was timed. Do not dishonor the timing by dragging it behind you like a heavy chain. The High Council of Vega now watches your field for movement, not contemplation. Contemplation had its season. Now is the season of embodiment. Now is the season of action that carries frequency into form. I am Zoran. The elders have spoken what your spirit demanded to hear. Gaia's hour is late, but you, Lightworker, are perfectly on time. Late hours do not mean failure. They mean urgency. They mean the lamps must be lit. They mean those who can see in the dark must take their places. The epoch of your revelation begins now. Before you scroll, take a moment to declare your activation in the grid of service forming here. Drop one statement in the comments. Which directive hit you the hardest, or what you're now ready to release, activate, or protect. Then respond to another Lightworker's declaration with recognition. This isn't content, it's collective mission activation. The Council witnesses those who speak their commitment aloud. If this transmission activated something in your soul, do not keep it to yourself. Another Lightworker in your orbit is waiting for exactly this correction and authorization. Share it, and if you felt the elders speaking directly to you, subscribe. Stay connected to the Lyran field. You're not just watching, you're being commissioned. This is your sacred space. The High Council of Vega is witnessing you, and your mission has officially begun. If this transmission spoke to you, don't just walk away from it. Respond to it. Help carry this message further. Every act of support helps this transmission find the next starseed who needs it.